I'm the perfect example. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter what block you from. It all depends on where you want to go, how you want this thing to end for you. There's a group out there that's willing to help, can't wait to help you. What commitment are you willing to make? This is the program.
All right, what's going on, Reboot Team? Chris here with yet another testimonial from somebody coming to us from our exclusive implementation program. This is somebody that I've had the pleasure in speaking with and working with for over a year now, at least a year for sure. And yeah, we're going to get to know his experience and he'll lend a little insight and we're going to get to know him a little bit. I am here with Hasheem. Good to see you again, brother. Appreciate you making time to speak.
Appreciate you too, Chris. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, man. Let's start from the very beginning, really, before we get into the nitty gritty and the specifics. Taking it from the top, how did you discover the program at the very beginning?
I discovered the program internet search. So there was like a Google recovery and how to overcome, these types of issues. And there were several things that had popped up as I read the description. It kind of grabbed my attention. So clicked on it, read through some information, and found out that there was a YouTube channel. Looked at a couple of the videos. I signed up on the online to receive like a interview to see if I was able to learn more about the program, be part of the program. So signed up for it, got on the call with GT, and it took off from there.
Absolutely. And shout out to GT. He was my reboot strategist as well. He brought me in as well. So shout out to my man. And here you are in the program now. And well, even before you joined, like, let me ask you this. Like, what was the moment like where, you're having conversations with GT, you're thinking about whether or not to join, you do that, deep Google search for, help and everything. What was the moment like where you finally thought to yourself, you know what, like it's time. Like let me do this for real. Like what was the moment that kind of like pushed you over the edge, if you will?
Very interesting. So I think the it got to the point to where I was actually on the call with the GT, and as I was doing the interview, I was thinking to myself like, "Yo, this is the real deal right here." I mean, the type of questions he was asking of myself, and how did I get to that point? Well, he told me that he think that I would be a good fit for the program, and then it was something that I had to invest in. And right then and there, I kind of realized that this was kind of different than most of the other programs or systems that I looked at.
Mm.
Was that this was an investment in myself, and I knew that this is something I never did before, and I was scared. So that's how I knew it was the right one for me. You
Mm.
know, I had to take a chance at doing it, and it put me in a situation where I felt just emotionally uncomfortable because I never, had done something like this before, or opened up to be a part of a program like this. So that's how I knew when I was on the call with GT and I had to make a decision right then and there because it was no more running. It was no more, well, let me think about it.
Mm.
It had to be made right there.
It's one of those things where it's like nothing changes if nothing changes. Here you are, like I said, in the group, and I'm curious as to, some of the progress that you made, like some of the ways in which you've grown. Like let's start small and then we'll see where we go from there. Like what have been within your time in the program some of the tools that you've learned about?
First few things is that making the purchase of the book, breaking the cycle, and doing the dialoguing, because that was like totally new for me. Doing the dialoguing, and also with that was, as you know, you're the class leader on this. Is the there's a class that we have every Sunday, a session that we have every Sunday that we meet up and we discuss certain aspects of the of dialogue and get into dialogue and other things too, but mostly the dialogue. So that was one of them. Another tool that I found very helpful was I call it the MB checklist. It kind of like buys you time. It kind of like acts as a distraction, as a go-between, to as a stopgap, so to speak. Gives you time to think and settle down and gather your thoughts and your emotions, so to speak. And definitely the morning routine. That's like the start to your day. Something that JK had said in one of those first modules was your first 10 seconds of waking up is some of the most important, is probably the most important time of
Mhm.
the day, especially because you're getting up, is to say something positive to yourself, to get yourself started.
Yeah.
Uh, and making sure you make it that a consistent part of your morning routine. So I think those three or four have been the most instrumental. However, very basic, but very, very effective helping me in terms of my progress. at the beginning with the program.
Talk about that, like as far as different ways of building up that sense of awareness, like what's going on with me internally, like whether it be through the feelings exercise or the checklist, kind of like pausing and being still and being with your thought pattern as opposed to doing what you can to distract yourself from it, right? As far as, building up that type of awareness, like you said, out of curiosity, how has that helped you in your reboot?
Well, I had a serious problem with anxiety. So anytime I felt the need to act out or something like that, anxiety would just take over. And I never took the time to ask myself a question to just stop and figure out, okay, what's going on? How am I feeling? And this is what the program has taught me, is that just to stop, catch your breath, think about what's going on, ask yourself what's going on. So, and this is where the it's sort of like the feelings exercise that's part of the morning routine. Just asking yourself these questions, a sense of where these things start. I mean, at first, for me personally, it was kind of a struggle because it took work. There was some resistance there. I didn't want to do it because it was too much. It was going to take some work and some effort. However, it paid off because I kind of stayed with it. I didn't give up on it. The awareness had grew by me staying consistent, trying to become more aware in the sense that the negative emotions that I have, the anxiety, the doubt, the fear, answering those questions. Because when I look back on it, I realized that it only got its strength from when I mostly resisted or when I put it off. But as I began to practice it more and more, I saw the weakness in it, but also I saw the vulnerability in it, and I began to build strength, and it has helped me a lot to become more aware of my situation, my emotions, my feelings, etc., things like that.
So, so good. And I'm genuinely happy that you had realizations like that, and as far as that tendency to put things off, if there's anything
Yeah,
that I've learned, it's that the best way to make pain persist is procrastination.
yeah.
So
That's
I'll tell the world, because putting it off will just kind of like, I mean, the other cliche applies, but it's only because it's true. What you resist will persist. So
yeah.
as someone who has plenty of history with anxiety, there's a lot to what you said that absolutely resonates. And as far as other ways in which you've perhaps tackled that, or other ways in which you've found different ways to cope with that, other guys talk about, the coaching calls, for example. I know you're a busy guy, but out of curiosity, like, what's your overall experience been with the coaching calls?
So the coaching calls that I had with yourself and GT, those were the coaching calls where like if I had a relapse or if I had a slip or if I needed direction, I mean you guys had like pinpoint accuracy as to how to get back on and what it was, and the information was very specific, and the questions were real. The questions were sometimes difficult to answer, but that's the beauty of this program too. Is that you step up, you take the responsibility, putting yourself in a situation to where you can become the person or the man that you want to be, or you should just walk away from it. But with the coaching calls, it was very instrumental because it either refocused me or it showed me the next step I had to take to become more aware and to move forward in my progress. So the coaching calls are very instrumental because I think without them, it's almost like you have all your senses, but you still can't see. So you guys are like our eyes. You help us to see what corrections or what additions that we can make to become better and to stay on the course that we see that we should be taking. So the coaching calls were very instrumental, very instrumental.
That's cool, man. And
Yes, sir.
I love the way you illustrated that. It's like and as it hits home for me because I completely know what that's like. It's like to have all your senses, but just like kind of be blind in the process, like not really knowing which way to go. I think anybody who struggles with an out of control behavior, it's like, yeah, I'm in control. You know what I mean? It's kind of like walking through a fog sometimes. Like whether it's like you ever had this feeling where it's like I straight up don't know what I'm feeling right now.
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
Like that I feel numb or I've just been so conditioned or just so used to, like I said, like distracting myself, using certain compulsive behaviors to not have to think about certain things or relieve myself of certain uncomfortable emotions, whatever the case may be. But really, in this program, I mean, from what it sounds like, you've come to know that it's really about different ways of sitting with yourself. Like it's more than just about porn. So I'm curious, compared to, and not that there has to be a single answer to this, but I'm curious about various ways in which you've noticed growth within yourself compared to when you first started.
One of the biggest ways I've noticed areas of my life that I've grown is that, man, the procrastination, it was this big, but now it's probably down to that much. I take
Good.
action, don't sit back and wait because I realize that that's part of the problem. It's a way to avoid what needs to be done. No matter how painful you think it is or how much you think you can get away from it, time is of the essence. So that's one of the biggest things this program has taught me is that take action now. That's one area where I've grown. Another area I've grown is like with shame. Because with shame, I would like always, even in the little things. So like I would avoid making calls to like my loved ones. I would avoid certain social events. I would back away from taking healthy risks. But now it's like some of these things I can think through. I stay on it. I can make those phone calls now. I can be more involved in social events. I'm not afraid to smile and to laugh and to show the other side of me. Because before everything was serious. I had to be this way, but now I think I enjoy myself. So that's another area where I think I have grown. And also, as being the man, I'm gonna be straight up with you, Chris, is that I've always wanted to be well off. Now, I'm not saying I'm a millionaire or anything like that, but with the time I bullshitted around with, now I realize the importance of time I could utilize to make money for myself and like each year in this program, I've been getting a little bit more each time. So that's another way I've grown. Within this program, there's also offered a financial, I'm gonna call it reboot, financial reboot course, where JK and some other he had invite some guests on to kind of point us in the right direction, give us a lot of intricate knowledge, very helpful knowledge as to like how to grow financially. So that's just a few ways I've grown. Those have been very impactful in this program.
I love that, man. I really, really do. And like as you were sharing, like so many like questions popped up and so much I want to ask you, but I'll just keep it to this for now. From what you shared, as far as like, ways in which you found that you've grown, it sounded like a sense of presence, it sounded like a sense of more room to just express and feel. Like you said, straight up, like, yo, I can smile. You know what I mean? And there's just more room for that.
That's it. So simple, smiling. It seems like it's so much of a simple thing, but yes, that was me. That was me.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, like you had mentioned like the financial reboot program. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Like what was your experience like with that?
Yeah, so coming into the program, when GT throw the numbers out at you, it's kind of like, hold up, let me think. I had that brief moment there, but again, like I said in the beginning of this interview, is that uh, I knew right then and there that that's where I had to make the investment.
Mm.
And also during that call, GT and I actually before that call, I'm gonna back up. Before that call, um, it did say that it was going to take an investment, and then it had interviews of other men saying, "Hey, it was worth it. It was worth every penny. Yeah, it may seem like it's a lot, but trust me, it was definitely worth the investment. It's something that you should really consider. There's very few, if any, programs out there that's like this." So I'm watching these other guys, these other men, these other brothers say these things, and I was like, I want to be just like that. I want to be able to say the same thing, to make that investment in myself and not worry about the cost. So going into the call with GT, he told me what it was. And then I remember saying to him, I was like, well, if I have to do X, Y, and Z to make this investment, I'll do it. and it kind of grew from there. So I guess it was not a concern, but it was brought up by some other brothers. If I have this right, that there was like, I guess some brothers were struggling with like budgeting and making money, et cetera, stuff like that. And like I said, it was a free workshop with JK. So I came on. The guy, forgot the brother's name, but he came on. He's broke it down to us. It was very helpful. But as I was going through that process, this up until now, this whole process of rebooting for me, that's something that I always wanted because, being a younger man coming up, didn't have much. My mind had changed to come out of survival mode to go into a more of a being able to read more and more, put myself in position to be more creative, to find ways to become more of a quote unquote business person. How can I become better at the things that I do? Being creative in my thinking, putting time into things that are invested in me and I'm invested in it, where I can see myself grow and I can see the things that I invest into, whatever that may be, grow also. So the financial reboot, it wasn't just about the cash, it was about the mindset, having the mindset. And that's what I realized, because, JK talks about, yeah, I have guys, big time business guys in here and stuff like that. And I understand everybody's not a business person, but we can all be creative and have that mindset to move forward in our lives in that manner. So the financial reboot, like I said, again, it's not about the money, it's about the mindset. So all those other things, they'll come, but you first have to change in your mind how you see things. So that's how the financial reboot has impacted me. It makes you want to get up, get out, and go get something. You know what I'm saying? So that was very helpful for me, was the financial reboot. And I still watch it. I watch it frequently. I go back, it was something I missed or something I didn't understand. So it always helps me to keep moving forward. But yeah, financial reboot, big time help.
Love that. Love that. I love that. That's really, really awesome, man. I'm happy for you. And, there's a question that I love to ask on calls like this where you sort of alluded to it, but let's really kind of pinpoint it, right? Hypothetically, hypothetical scenario I'll throw at you. If you were to have someone that you know confide in you about, hey, like I'm experiencing some difficulties when it comes to certain sexually compulsive behaviors, right? Knowing what you know now, having experienced what you've experienced, having learned what you've learned, is there anything that you would share or tell to this person who's just maybe on the fence as far as what move to make next, struggling in silence in the way that you and I know about very well? Yeah, I was like, is there anything that you might want to share with this person?
Yeah, first thing I would definitely tell them is that there's help, that you don't have to do it by yourself. Then I would lead them to think or to know that it's going to take a commitment. It's going to take an effort on your part. And what are you willing to do to make that happen? Is that what you really want? That's what you really want? I know a system that works. I know a system that produces men, that produces productive men, that get you back on track. But are you willing to make that effort? Are you willing to put forth that effort for yourself, to make that investment in yourself, to move forward, to achieve, or to become the man that you always wanted to be? And I'm the perfect example. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter what block you from. It all depends on where you want to go, how you want this thing to end for you. And like, there's men out there, there's a group out there that's willing to help, can't wait to help you. What commitment are you willing to make? That's what I would say to them.
Yeah, I mean, you can have all the right tools, you can have all the right stuff, but like, are you willing to move? Like, this is an actions-oriented program. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
No, I love what you said that. It doesn't matter where you're from. What matters most is where do you want to go, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So I suppose a follow-up question to this person, would you then in turn recommend this program?
Without a doubt, without a doubt. And I would recommend it. Here's why I would recommend this program. I've been a part of maybe two other programs.
Mhm.
One program, it was just, it was like a 12-step program.
Yeah, yeah.
And that just wasn't for me, that personally, that wasn't a good fit. There was no accountability. There was no system to, like, no one to be personable with, that you could reach out to. It was just nothing to hold you accountable. There was other systems that I read through, but this here, I have to recommend it because it shows you who you really are, the person that you really are. It makes you step up. And if you say you want to be that person, become that man, then this is the only place that I've known. Like I said, I've researched a lot of places in the beginning when I was looking for help, and I've been a part of two programs. And the biggest difference is that this is the only program that I know that makes you question yourself in that very moment where you have to make a decision to say, you know what, this is it right here. Come hell or high water, or wherever the case may be, this is the program. It has all the tools, it has all the experience, and it has people from all backgrounds all across the world. So your situation is no more unique than another brother's out there. So this program is definitely the program for you. So just based on that, I have to recommend the program. I have to.
Bro, you nailed it. Thank you so much for your sharing. No, seriously, thank you for your insight. Thank you for your story. And I'm excited to see what happens next for you, bro.